Hi, this is Lisa Guthrie, 507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 98133. And the reason I forgot to broadcast when I was talking about gang member crimes, well, it's getting toward the end of the month. And one of the crimes in this building includes identity theft. And identity theft and threats of identity theft. Oh, I just used that for cutting my cheese. But anyway, so you can see all the stuff I have to carry. I've sort of given a history of this place. Actually, leave anything here. The management has let people enter. If you hear people muttering in allegedly the stove, the stove on, don't need the fan. And there's a bum playing dust crate and they'll talk. Now, when they're like in another location, such as in their rooms or something, there's rooms directly on the left. Their apartments. There's the TV room here, but that's like on the left, and then on the right, there's a hallway. You have to sort of the hallway is in place of directly looking into someone's. Hearing morons that are using ESP. I've been driving by today. Now remember, I'm talking about theories that are paranormal and, shall we say, I hate to say it, it's mundane. But it is mundane because the U.S. seems to be mostly gang members and drunks and druggies. So I'm hearing a bump on the road. Now, I will say that there's a head, then there's a bum in plane. He's talking about packaging with a bum here. And what are they talking about packaging? And somebody's eating chest, checking some back, it might be a spirit. Now, what are they talking about packaging? Now, the packaging is, once again, I've told you, you don't want these people having my chakras. If you're a blood like they are at 10507 Aurora Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, 981, you don't want them having anything that will use it against you, even if you're a blood. Remember, they have a hot takeover where only 300 people will be left alive. Will be their slaves, or and they'll have free identity, people out of their bodies. I think they'll own weapons. Quite dramatic. Also, a game of proxy. There are bums. Excuse me, I'm listening to our theft. Now, there's head in a car. You could just hear it accelerating just now. The sound played on a stereo, you can hear it well, I'm sure. Or clean it up on a sound graph. Oh, and then bum has chest and playing age. Here's age. They like to nonsensical amounts to the same crap all day long. Like they'll say, but they do it. They're taking my chakras and they're trying to make beings and non-things out of them, beings, and get more treasure. So it's the same crap. That's all it means. But these idiots in the U.S. have intent. So it's like, yeah, don't hurt me. And I'm not hurting spine. I'm protecting. And I hear particular resonance that denotes have my shock. If somebody has that, and somebody's admitting he's blah 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 blah. Save them. And I can tell it's making sense, and it's being run by zombie bums. And it's having people, or he's trying to capture people. He's playing bum, chakra, chanting. People chanting. And there was just now more chest, and a bum was playing blah, blah, blah. It's a male, and I didn't hear it because I was talking, but he said blah, 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 blade a lot. So, you hear that they're bad English, right? Well, guess how stage and able to have their intent answered. Let's say 13 years ago. And Satan taught utter morons that they could say whatever and have it as in he with a supercomputer wants the banana, beep, banana comes. Somebody's playing Mexican. Poor just told me, have you for dinner. They're cannibal zombies here. They also like to eat, etheric body. I'm not talking about the peeps on the camera. But, I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about the central vitamins. I'm talking about the cannibal zombies of the U.S. Then there's a bum in the planet 431. He's talking the name. And my premise is, well, the bums. There's but old lady that refuses to. She's a zombie. What else is she? If she's accepting a bag of away from the gamers, that makes her. Boy, that's in on 10 years old. He's child molester. So these people are bums. That's or pilot was communicating. I'd be the lead pilot. So what would attack before 30? Now what they if these are all bums that is in the grocery away. A cannibal and a zombie and I'll be a bum. What about pilot on stealing chakras and packaging because they want to and have all control? About 300 people. And he's playing chakras. So what they have done, and say, let me give you an example. So pretend somebody's eating somebody, including maybe a bum eating a spirit. Maybe somebody's eating or something like me. I gotta do that. From the channel to do that, like spread your legs. That's a typical gang member, including the whores that hang out in the storage room. You don't do that. So that's like retardos doing magic, basically. They're playing tonight, and there was just uterine there. Hey, all of you don't need to tonight on. Not all of the bones. Let those eat each other. Do I care if the invisible zombies eat each other now? No. They're all zombies. If they started opening covert meat plants, yes, I was very opposed to the idea. They threatened me with eating me so much, and they're cannibal zombies. They're not gonna. No reason. I say let them eat each other now. I let them eat each other. Look at pictures of hell. There's a lot of degradation. There's a lot of torture going on. Representations of hell, obviously. So I know now. And because I know there's and I've heard them eat spirits, including spirit tortured. So they're evil. So I don't really care if they eat each other. And one of them, if you could get the sound, she for dinner. She didn't. She Avenue, North Seattle, Washington, 98133. The GPS is showing the street, by the way. They're talking about chains, hand, and so the bums are playing chains, I think, or cheats us. Now, so the bums pretend I owed everybody when I woke up 13 years ago, and everybody was a Satanist in the U.S. and was a cannibal zombie, and they're practicing magic. Then you've got the gangs that pretend they own you. So you've got, like as I say, physical world, then you've got the paranormal aspect. Chest, a lot of chakra, other attacks, a lot of constant head, and also whores and bums eating me. And then, like I said, it approaching it's sick, also where you abnormal, and you're trying to stave off other zombies that are gang members, just been lone wolf. But it's approaching the end of the month. People in this building, they would absolutely kill me up here, and the managers that are here would help them cover it up. I was here 3 days, pretty much, and I realized I would move my stuff in. And even before I signed the lease, out to this building, to my room. The chest attack and chanting brutally. So when they take your tissue, it's like a curse or an activation. They're like, you want to be hit brutally. We want to have them, you want to harm you brutally. We've got your face, we're going to make it ugly. So they're tearing your etheric to pieces. Now, I was the only one with a soul, and the only one with shock. The rest of the monks had nothing except what looked like is an evil gremlin. If you were to take them out of their body, they would be hideous. That's what they look like, skin. 4, 8, and mom is playing entertain you in the car. Sorry, sort of almost a food coma for me. I just ate sort of late lunch dinner. Well, I'm going to make sure this is plugged in so that I'm not losing all my battery. It's battery drain when you run on a smart. So now some of the scenarios that have happened, and it's not just with the bank, but we're going to talk about just the bank situation. So there'd be constant bank and extortion threats, and remember, a lot of these bums, they're pretending that there's a relationship. Look at the door. The door is always like that. Nobody wants them. A couple of the women, they go to a day services that I go to, and I there as well. And there's not a and a bum just took head. Nobody borrowed money from them. So from the very beginning, even ugly old bastards in the building, quite frankly, were trying to extort money from me. It's not just one, it's many, and they literally wanted to come in so badly at 4:37 on Saturday night. I thought it was going to be done with hand. One of the social workers today, I was talking about, actually, he's playing or psychotic, and they're trying to cover. Oh, he's not a social worker. He's the guy at the front desk. Sorry, fat guy with the beard, ugly, and he's pretending that nobody's coming and that nobody hangs out in the storage room, and you know, everything's fine and dandy here, which is a bunch of BS. Some of the gang members got such a foothold. One blew out my head, and somebody's arguing with me. So you see, when I'm talking about what they're doing, the response is to argue with me. As in, not argue and say, oh, we didn't do that. It's more like, well, because you did this, and blah, 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 blah. One, and excuse me, there's huge chunk playing. And see, I'll tell you, I don't get as scared as I do sick of these bastards. I actually get inebriated. The stress level affects me differently. It's like, oh, well, I've got the stress on top of like trying to be organized and trying to lock up everything and, oh, make sure, I'm safe. And then there's like all the dirty bumps, including the story. So a lot of the yap itself is so dull. You can't imagine. It's like torture to listen to excrement over and over. There's someone on a plane and bum is eating head in shower. It could be a spirit. Or a behind shower. So that would mean, and then there's a car 42. So you see all this now. Let me show you the time frame. And literally, the notebook fills up with all this crap. And this is sparse in comparison with some events. Because it's sparse because I had to sleep at some point. It just goes on and on. And there's psychic attacks. The threats, you can have a separate notebook, but be there 10 years writing in both. I'm not that fast yet. A lot of Hispanic and Mexican playing today, by the way. Check. And possibly a bike. And they're playing. There's a third one. Excuse me, at 4:43. Excuse me, big. So, that being said, just hearing it, and hearing the voices you just heard, that actually to my right and behind slightly, well, slightly to my right and then behind. And it was halfway to the front door, in the bathroom door, and you could hear the bums through. And they're up to water, and my hands were bleached, and they had bragged that they would be bleaching my hand. Car and chest and head times 2, and including back area. I shouldn't have eaten those peeps will put you to sleep. Now this one's talking. I am a constant battle of trying to get cannibalism out of it's in it. Like, they think it's funny to put, quote, did you just, Maybe it was just the camera. Well, obviously, you do what you can. They try to get the people out of the food or the other beings. Because, I was eating an actual peep. Anyway, there's a bum in the car. So, big identity scams. If you look at identity scams and people disappearing and dying that have any money, it's not the funniest sort of death, even, or gang members, or somebody was, and knew that person at a certain time of the month. These people here will actually rob you. Yes, my dollar store napkins and paper plates that I toxic. I'm not going to sit around washing the water anymore. I can heat it up on the stove if I want to, the pans, and run some water through it, and not much because I not fun. It's carrying it. So there are some things I was going to get to. Maybe I'll leave phone on so you can hear people. Oh gosh, I'm sleepy. I should make coffee too. Actually put the phone near the bathroom or in it. And there's a vertical energy airplane overhead. He's using his back up by some as we close the door. No, in the bathroom. And he thought he would get really the physical, say, the way and these and the security guards already have a reputation. They come out of mix. And he makes this perfect belief that has tried of God. Everybody has gotten rank or good. Somebody talked about payment, and they got a finger and head. I'm just short. It doesn't make here. And so babies, their hands, they are going to pretend to be and be able to carry them off as a process. When their kidneys or something else. The kidney. I had to do something, but there's a lot of. Hopefully, you were able to hear the retarded person in the shower. He's talking about a baby. He's a child molester, and they think they can force people to sleep with people who have AIDS. He has AIDS, HIV, if it's the one I'm thinking of. It might be a different one. And nobody would want to sleep with these people anyway. So basically, they're trying to force themselves on people, and they're child molesters, and they're constantly talking about babies. In fact, one of them yesterday was probably actually masturbating into the water as he was talking about babies. That's why the water runs a lot here. So evidently, he got very excited talking about babies. Now, there is a cover-up among gang members, a lot of cover-ups, but they will cover up the fact that they're child molesters and murderers. And so there was head, also uterus, and then chest chakra. And the bum thought he could make at 454 like key making. And there is no relationship. There's nothing with them. They're also frantic to try to get a small check and a storage room at that I have at another location. They're frantic to get ID from someone, immediate gratification, and the bum is eating chakras. Well, guess what? What's the reversal of that? The chakra eats you, stupid bum. All of you eaten by bums. And the bum is playing, convincing victim since 16 years old. Something stupid like that. And so what they're doing is also running scams in the paranormal. Convincing victims at 16 years old. So they're trying to run a scam and pretend, oh yeah, she was a prostitute. She was scarred at 16. Oh, she was always ugly. Oh yes, that's it. And he just took head. He's playing slobber all over you. If you're going to slobber all over me, why don't you go into the body of a dog that is in death row? There's a black and a white person in there, or there was. And they're playing cherubs too. Now, why would they talk about cherubs? Well, they were in on defiling people. There was a large head blowout just now. They were in on defilement of anything they perceived as good. Now, what do people think of when they think of the word cherub? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Children that are naked. And so the bum is talking about cherubs because he's a child molester. And they're playing Gave Me Mine. I wouldn't give any of these people even a dog turd. Now there's some energy being displaced. And remember, these idiots fell with Satan. He actually chose inferior stock to promote him, because he knew that they would decimate anyone that was good, anyone that was nice or normal, and he knew that these people were very jealous of anyone smart or artistic, and all of them steal brain. So all of your designers in the U.S. and all of the artists, designers and artists, any writers, any scientists of the last 13 years at least, they are all suspect of stealing perhaps your very brain in order to discover whatever it is they discovered, or to paint, or to write, or even to sing whatever they sing. They've also stolen body parts. So the singing, the writing, the athletes. Now I'm doing chores, and the thing in the wall is still trying to eat. They're playing Oh My, and then they're playing Chocolate God. And one of the bums just puppeted me, and that's important. And what do I mean by puppeted? Well, they finished my sentence, and they took chest chakra, and they're playing chocolate. So they're one of the agenda with the fall of Satan. A lot of your dirty whites and deranged whites didn't give a damn, and they sold out whites. And that was much to the glee of quite a few people who call themselves chocolate, or other than chocolate. And then they absolutely sold out people that were white and decimated them in the spirit world, and are trying to actually decimate whites as we speak, and are trying also not only to decimate white, but to decimate people that were my other favoritism, such as, well, warmer-skinned, Europeans, warmer-skinned Russians, warmer-skinned people that are, my favorites, along with the English, Scottish, Irish, and Welsh, and the Europeans. There's a bum in the car, and he is communicating with the other bums. Now I've got sort of probably glass on my hand, which isn't ideal for writing. But there's a large chest there. There's a horse saying imprison. She's threatening to imprison. One of the bums in the wall is talking about chop shop and Rachel or ritual. Ritual. They're very satanic, and they have a blood and guts fetish. It's very common with a zombie. They also have a cannibal and blood fetish here. And actually, indeed, when I woke up in America, the first thing I thought they would do is eat me. And they do have a cannibal and blood fetish. Boy, I need to get to the garbage. Oh gosh, so let's see. Gotta wash my hands all right. Let me start. People are going crazy because of displaced energy. I'm going to be covered in glass. So that'll have to be washed up. And I'm doing it too. I'll have to tell them to wash it up, or I'll wash it where I go. And then there's a bum on Aurora. He's talking with one of the other bums. Here he's talking. And then another one is eating chakra. So by 504. 504, chest, eating, several, head, and bum in wall, bath, and he's doing chest, he's playing continually. He's playing blah, blah, blah continually. One slobber all over you. Now, the spirit world was ruined. I couldn't see what was going on. Now, that's not to suggest that there were all good spirits. Obviously, Satan is bad, obviously, the ultimate in bad. So are the fallen angels, and even more fell, by the way. But what I will say is, it didn't help anyone to have a bunch of moronic bums that are not very far from coma. What's coma? I've heard 30. Might be lower than that. But when I woke up, remember, people were 80. That's not that far. Even the brightest were 80. I've actually seen the best and the brightest still brain. These bums are not bright, and they never have been. And one just stole brain, head, large head. And then I think he passed it to a female that I just heard in the hall. 506. Now I'm still sorting stuff. Bunches can be done. Obviously, you don't want to wash them up. Bob is playing torture, blah, 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 torture, yap, yap. If you clean up your sound, you'll be able to hear what the bum is saying. Blah, 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 torture, yap, yap, yap. And see these bums, it's not just the bums. It's the people who let them get away with it. Either A, they were afraid, they had this network that maybe they'd have to go against. You know, they didn't want to be scratched up like I am, disfigured by glass that they had strewn around my apartment. Maybe they didn't want to be raped, so they caved into the zombie gang members. Well, they have nothing, these people. They have no soul. They have no chakras, except, see, they keep stealing it, and then I'll hear them, they'll say, we all have chakras. They'll still brain. We all have brain now. We all have brain. And there's a whore on the wall making fun of evil people, calling them somebody from history. Once the whores and the bums get a hold of history, well, history is over anyway, but it became over when America got a hold of it. When they could see the invisible, and thought it was funny to exploit history and take them apart and torture them and remake them the way they saw fit, which if you can imagine 132 million defilements, 130 some, because you know some are babies, obviously. So can you imagine a black Nazi's viewpoint, like Ireland, Scotland? That's exactly what you have. And you also have white trash, and you have all these bums that have cloned themselves 100,000 times, and they're nothing but bums for 10 generations. 10 generations of bums. Sometimes I try to figure out what's going on. I'm hearing the people in the garbage. It's like I can't see them. It's where the U.S. belongs, the visible. And they just sit, it's a long EN, it looks like a rope. It's sharp, it'll hurt you. Actually, they have an energy field like that. It looks like a rope or a fishing, not fishing line, it's like a rope. And, or twine. And it's silvery gray, and then all of a sudden your head blows off because you ignored it. Maybe a gold one bite. Oops, saw a splash on me. Like some look like water splashes in different colors. Whoops, ignored that one. Ooh. So cheap. I have to use my picnic knife, at least I don't have to see the rust. I'm looking at something, it's like, oh, I found something. Oh, where'd it go? Creepy, rusty, is that, ooh, it's from Lost. I didn't realize their knives rusted like that. It's a bread knife or a butcher knife. And then there's this cheap picnic knife. It hasn't even rust. Oh, it's not black on it. The other one was black, but it broke. They break. You try to cut bread after a while. I have no patience for plastic, so I love using stuff like that to cut plastic. Something better than the dollar store scissors. They, you know. Lot of garbage. So, you know, you might live in Zombieville, but you're still expected to keep your house clean. There's you know, inspections, etc. I wonder if I should throw away that awful pillow, or should I donate it? I think I'm gonna throw it. I can put it in the garbage. They're playing eating you. What's the, you know, opposite of me being eaten? Well, my parts can eat them. They whom are eating me. And no, I'm not into blood and guts. But I don't like my chakras being eaten. Head, eaten, back. They're playing since blah, 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 temperature, blah, 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 X years old. So one of the things I woke up to is that they took my identity and they had 130-some million morons playing me. I could say 132 million because you don't know how many of the children. And that's how they brought forth some very bad intent upon the world. And, you know, so if you'd like to do something by yourself, peep, show who's in you. You need to get out of there anyway, because I'm not going to eat you. I'm not interested in eating people. Well, if you'd like to conduct an interview, peep, you may. I'm not making the peep talk. I'm not puppeting the peep. It's I don't know if you're picking this up. I'll prop this up. So if the Peep wants to talk to you, it may. Eventually, the Peep might get its own website. Just don't tell any lies near me, Peep. What do you think about Donald Trump? Oh, by the way, even if this were silliness, yeah, occasionally I'll be silly. Well, would rather get silly once in a while than actually drop dead of grief. Screaming and crying. No, it's actually more humane because of the way they were treated, or be other beings. Oh, my back was just blown out quite bad. The back, and it's a spine. They get a kick out of spinal fluid blowout. It's actually more humane sometimes to destroy. I say destroy in the name of Jesus. Does it mean I'm painfully, pulling them? No. It means let's go out like a great light. Them, how in the hell or heck would I take care of little tiny beings? It's been horrendous. And just, oh yes, like, oh, we're going to have ghosts come out of the woodwork at Lisa Guthrie, or have her step on them. She can't see them. We'll put them in her food. It could be ghosts, but sometimes it's aliens and other beings. Somebody's talking about a devil. They've got some of the some of the bums are bragging about devils, and there was somebody in a conical, sort of vaguely like Spanish Inquisition meets the devil kind of thing. He was on that first window. Can't see anything now. He's passed. He was a spirit. You think it's a demon? Fallen? It's bad. In the name of Jesus, I have to destroy him, don't I? He's bad. I hear him. He had some weaponry, and I heard a metallic clank. He's playing seizure. And then 518 head. And I can still hear the chanting from chakra. So you might hear me, I need to sort of regroup. Regroup, what a fun name or word. But if I could regroup and then just sort of silently just sort of devise some fighting. There's chest and head, and the guy upstairs has head. This is by 518. And it sounds like a motor. Here's what they've done. They've put it in the plane. Like they put my chakra in the gas, and they're playing chained. And bum Lisa. Bum plane Lisa. Oh, it's in him, and they're playing guarding. So it's the pilot, and he's playing guarding, and they're trying to devise scams. They've also done that, mind you, with my favorite countries and everything. Like, I was very beautiful, quite a few points in my life. Sometimes I would gain weight and, not be as pretty. But sometimes I was stunning, even overweight. But a lot of these bums have even played, we scratched you. It isn't you. And you were always ugly, and, you were always hideous. Oh, that other girl, that beautiful dyed blonde-haired beauty, or the person with the long dark hair that was beautiful without makeup, that wasn't you when it was, actually. So they've also played It's Not Your Ancestry. So one of the best tools to use against the U.S., the whole U.S., But I would advise a lead mirror that's highly reflective. Why? Lead is very psychic dampening. And what you're going to do, it's not your goal to protect anyone by psychic dampening that is cursing, and brought such trouble upon everyone. The goal is actually to reflect all curses back on the U.S., including their activations. They just took chest and tore it out at 5:20, and it went to the left. So it's been quite dramatic and extreme, and part of the reason behind it is because I have started to broadcast. So the gang members like to put into practice punish you for punishing you. And they'll pick you apart, like they'll take my chakras and take my spine, and it's quite painful. If you don't know what I mean, I'd let you feel it. Then they'll pull some things like, well, you owe us, and you called the police on us, so we're going to rape you. Oh, you called the police on us because we said we're going to rape you. And so now we're going to have someone, get you in public, and you're going to have to watch out for guns, and we're going to have you, kidnapped, and because you then told about the guns. So it's like it sort of goes on and on. Not many people can withstand that sort of stress. But, and then they have tried to lately coerce me into sex with the gang members here. And they're grotesque, ugly zombies. And they have AIDS and HIV. And even if they didn't, I'm not interested. There are plenty of prostitutes in the building. Plenty of prostitutes in this area. And, I wasn't like that type of person at 20 or 16. Why would I be one now? Especially with ugly, hideous men that aren't even men to me. They're just repulsive, smelly things. And to top it off, they're all zombies. And you hear this constant yap of the gang members and other morons in the U.S. And what is that yap? It's called the game of intent. It's the game of intent. Oh, and someone's eating my chakras. I think it's behind me. Eating 5:23. Oh, and the bum just made from chakras, chest, and he's playing money making. And so they're trying to control me. Remember, I'm the only one with chakras. I had a golden soul. That's why they're trying to steal me. I didn't know this, and I just thought it was normal, even in the 80s when I was psychically attacked, and I had an experience, but that experience actually. Well, I stayed the night with a friend, and she told me she had a woman that would come to haunt her. I just saw some EN, by the way. But long story short, I said, oh, no, I'll be fine. I'll stay the night. And that woman attacked me. And I looked up. It was probably 3 in the morning. It was still dark. I remember psychic attacks in the old days when there still were rules. And the bums hadn't taken over the spirit world yet. They were trying. Some were probably. But I looked up to see this most horrifying woman. And she looked like she was in rags and like burial, like just around her groin. That's it. And I looked at her, and she looked at me with this pure hatred. I couldn't even. And one of the women here, she's just a prostitute, and she's playing blah, blah, blah servant. So that's the whole thing about the U.S. Mental patients yapping, and they're yapping on a channel of intent that Satan gave them. So she's going yap, 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 blah, 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 blah. So anyway, This woman looked at me with terrible intent and hatred, and it was quite scary. I was horrified. And she also held me in the grip of like an electrical attack. And, oh, and by the way, she was bony and emaciated. And not only did she look like she was wearing vestments of the grave, which were very rudimentary, just, you know, the little groin covering, and that's about it. And then that foul hatred, her bones were poking through desiccated flesh, and she was quite emaciated. She was exceedingly evil. And I was surrounded by this golden light. Looked like pure gold. And she was torturing me, and there was this electrical, and it was like a machine almost, this gold, beautiful gold. Well, what I've learned, the bum just took my chest, and he's playing savior, and he is the farthest thing from a savior you could ever have. So the bums in the U.S., back to present day, they're all playing on a channel that Satan gave them, and they're playing a lie. You cannot trust one thing that the bums are playing, and you cannot trust anything they say, including when they're doing an activation. I've heard them absolutely like take my head, and they'll say, Lisa wants ice cream. Lisa wants costumes. Lisa wants soldiers. They're not appointed by anybody except self-appointed, and they're dirty, foul bums. And I would never have let the American zombie or anyone else take my intent. And there was just head taken, and my back is quite sore, by the way, from all that like back explosion earlier. And one of the games was to try to debilitate me, whether it was poisoning me in my apartment, including they bragged about radiation. And today, one of them named Stephanie, she was bragging about Agent Orange, or to debilitate and make me ill by eating chakra. One of them is, again, eating chakra. And he's not a savior. He's a bomb. They're all foul, hideous bombs in the U.S. Even the people with $10 million in the bank, they're foul. They're evil. They're garbage. Don't listen to a word they say. And they think, you might think, oh, they're dead set at preserving the individual. There is no individual. It's a bunch of zombies. It's like a hive mentality of zombie values. And one of the bums is now playing Mexican. The word Mexican has been used by spirits and also by the morons who use the spirits over and over, over and over. They're calling my soul Mexican. They've even called me Mexican. The bums in the U.S. will try to activate by very bizarre systems, including using the word Mexican for just about anything. And then you get to the point you never want to hear the word Mexican again, ever. And then what they did, they had people in the spirit world play Mexican about England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. And I think one of the dirty, filthy bums is playing seniority. But everything the U.S. populace has done has been based on lies and theft. I keep giving this model over and over. So let's say somebody took your credit card and your hand. Let's say you had a bunch of money in the bank, or let's say you were brilliant. Either way, very creative. So then they've got your credit card and they've got your hand. They buy stuff. They get friends because they get rich. But they've also used all your ideas. And then they keep going and get more and more and more and more and more stuff. they wanted to kidnap me. And they might have chopped through here if it hadn't been for me broadcasting and also telling the city and telling people, even if there are other zombie bums, you know, well, there are some people, among the zombie bums, there are fights. One of the bums in the bathroom, behind the bathroom, he just snapped his finger. He's trying to activate by snapping his fingers. As if he's in some kind of control, and he's not. It's just a dirty, ugly bum. Guaranteed. Ugly, dirty bum. Oh, by the way, whatever beings were around the peeps, and I suspected it, they taught beings to actually take shopping. And there's beings, little beings on the floor. In the name of Jesus, I destroy it. Bomb playing, you will be lay quiet on blanket. So they thought they would have me here, starved and sickened, and wouldn't be able to leave the apartment. The day I can't leave the apartment, I'm calling actual 911. When I can't leave here, I might call the actual ambulance, which, by the way, they threatened me with 1,000,000 times in regard to kidnapping. I think there's a scandal among gang members where they actually position people who are going to be shot around the ambulances. It's big money to ride in an ambulance. So Joe Schmo might have a hit on him that day that here comes the ambulance wherever he goes. It's not fate, eerie fate. It's a bunch of bums with an agenda. And fate has been run by bums in the U.S. for 13 years now. They've even blocked messages from the spirit world, and you know, they decimated. And they're still blocking even, like, let's say everybody's a zombie. Probably all the world now, from what I hear. Oh, well, the U.S. wants to make them into cannibal zombies. I think most of them had the ESP that God didn't give them. It was zombies. They just took quite a lot of head, and I'm getting spine. There's a spine attack. Excuse me. Huh. Looking at something. Somebody's talking about feet and disease bad. They might be bragging because they put in, I know that I had an infected foot. Oh, and they blew me out. They're playing babies. And, excuse me, I have to curse. There are, one of the plots for this weekend, it was a 4-day weekend So they thought they'd be able to adequately kidnap me. I've seen extra people roaming the halls, quite large males that didn't live here, as far as I know. And somebody bragged, he said, strong soldiers or something. So they call these bums soldiers or warriors. They're not. They're cowardly people. They make Courage the Cowardly Dog look like an absolute general. But you get 3 of the bums together, and they're quite not brave, but they can be tenacious, especially if they're liquored or drugged up.